Hello and welcome to Thursdays at 3. My name is Jen Wyatt and I am a productivity coach, and you can learn more about my business here on my business page. But what I do is I help women prioritize, organize, and bring balance to their life, to focus on what is the most important thing, whether that's family or business or work. We all have different things and different hats that take priority in our life. So that's what I do. Anyways, jumping in, some of you who have been following me for a while, I've been doing Facebook Lives for a few months now. And it's been exciting to get to know you guys online and for you to get to know me. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are live or you watch this in the replay, please say hi so I can say hi back and let you know, and just reach out to you and say, hey, thanks for joining me today. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to try in future lives to have more interactive, more questions type comments, and actually do that today. So let me know what you think and let's dive in. Okay, so today's topic, and on my blog, I wrote a blog called Make Room. Now, the concept of making room is that often we are so busy and we are so inundated with Facebook posts, with work to do, with requests from our kids, from our family, from, phone calls that come in, to all kinds of things. So, so what happens is that things that we really need to do or we really want to do often get squished, put aside, put in the back closet, so to speak, and we don't ever really make the time to do that, right? So that's what making room is. And it's not just business things, it's not just family things. Sometimes in my life when I've been really busy, I had all these things and I wasn't making room for my family. Or sometimes then I have a lot of family stuff going on, and there's a time, for a vacation, there's family time, there's a time for that. But sometimes, every 5 seconds it felt like somebody was knocking on my door wanting something from me. And I wasn't making room for the business stuff in my life. And that is, it's hard. It's hard to feel like you're getting anything done. Or it's hard to really know that you're moving the dial on a goal. And oftentimes when we're in that space, we can want to give up. We can want to just give into the overwhelm and say, you know what, I just don't have time for this. This is just not the right thing to do. And we do that, but we do that just out of a defense mechanism. But in reality, we can learn how to make room for these things. We can make it, it's not just about making a priority. It's actually making room in our day, making room in our schedule. I was working with somebody this week and we were looking at their calendar. And I do this exercise called Ideal Week. And again, Ideal Week isn't a place to get overwhelmed, because when you plot everything out, a lot of creative people and strategic people will be like, well, now I feel boxed in and I can't get anything done. Well, really what it does is it shows you what time you actually have. So if you want to make room for something in your life, you know what you have to move or eliminate, because we can't do all the things, right? We can wear many hats, but we cannot do all the things. So that's what this concept is. It took a few minutes to explain that, to unpack that. And in my blog, I share about a time in my life where I wasn't making room for certain things in my life. And so if you want to read that, I'm going to put the link in the comments. But 3 points that I make that I'm going to talk about here on the live, and I'm going to ask you guys some questions, is about how we make room for things. Now, the first one is that we all have choices, right? every single minute of our day is spent based on a choice. It's spent based on how we decide to spend that time. Though, there are instances when, you get a flat tire. Well, you didn't choose to get a flat tire, right? So it's not about that. But when we travel anywhere, it's important to know how much time it's going to take us. And yes, things do happen. But, we don't have to pursue our dreams. We don't have to have goals. We don't have to follow those things that we want to see grow in our life. Right? That's a choice. So, like I said, every minute of the day, we actually make a decision on how to spend that time, what we're going to do with that time, whether I'm going to spend my time doing a Facebook Live, or I'm going to spend my time writing a blog, or I'm going to spend my time watching TV with my family. It's not like those things accidentally happen to me. I've actually had someone say to me, oh, well, I accidentally watched YouTube for like 2 hours. How do you accidentally do that? I mean, it's not like YouTube grabs you and like puts you in a hole and makes you watch it for 2 hours. I think what they were trying to say was that they didn't mean to spend the time that way, and that it wasn't even that they made a conscious choice to do it or not to do it. It just sort of happened. But again, we have a choice to make room for that. And if you want to watch YouTube for 2 hours, then watch YouTube for 2 hours. You're making a decision. But do know that you're making room for YouTube where you might not be making room for something else that really needs to get done, or something that really needs your time and attention. So the questions I want to ask you, and I'm looking at my notes just to see my eyes all over the place. It's because I have some notes. What are you giving to the world today? And what I mean by that is, how are you spending your time? So essentially, spending time, it's just like spending money. It's not that time is a currency, but we do have a finite amount of time. So what are you giving the world? So what are you giving others in your community? What part of your time? What are you making room for in the world? Same for your family. What are you making room for your family? And again, this doesn't have to be like a negative, like ominous thing. It really is just a question. What are you making room for your family? Like for me, Friday nights we have pizza night. It's rare that I will decide to do something else on a Friday night, because I know it's family night. We generally watch a movie. That's intentional time we put aside. It's just like when I go on vacation, I can choose to work or not to work. So I hope that makes it clear. So what are you giving to your family? And are these things adding to your joy, or are they taking away from your joy? Because there's things sometimes that we can have in our life that rob us of our joy, it robs us of our energy, and it drains us, and it makes it harder for us to get things done. And then the last question in this bullet point is, how do you want to show up in your life? So essentially looking at what you're giving away, how does it make you feel, and how else would you like to do it? Would it be, I do this exercise a lot with myself, and I journal about it. My coach actually asked me kind of a similar question yesterday, and asked me to dig deeper into it. But really, how do I want to show up? How do I want to be? How do I want my life to look like this week, today, in 6 months? How do you want to show up? So these are my questions to you. Sorry, I felt like I was all over the place. I keep getting text messages. I'm not sure how to eliminate those while I'm on Facebook Live, because I have to do this on my phone. So I felt like I was a little all over the place. So what are you giving to the world today? What are you giving to your family? Is it adding to your joy, or is it taking away? And how do you want to show up? spend some time thinking about those. Journal it, write it in the comments. I love getting feedback, and I love interacting with you guys about the things that I'm bringing up. Make room for journal time because it's important. It is so important. It's one of the most important things to me in my day because it helps me clear out my mind. It helps me clear out my thoughts and get organized and kind of investigate how I'm feeling and how I want to show up in different places. The second thing I want to talk about is consider your impact. Now, along with making choices, we did talk about random accidents that happen. We aren't 100% in control of our time 100% of the time. But like I stated before, we can make choices. But ultimately, we influence how much anything impacts us. So if an accident does happen, or your day gets swept away by, a bunch of random phone calls, or you decide to watch YouTube for 2 hours, subconsciously decide, or like last September we had a hurricane. Well, that significantly impacted the way that I could work because we were out of power. We thought we were going to be out of power. There's all of a sudden I was making all these preparations that I didn't put in my schedule, right? But I can let those situations, those instances, those random things blow me out of the water, and I could be like, oh, well, I can't, this happened, and so now I can't do this now, and, and we all do it, right? I do it too. It's like, I run 6 days a week, and sometimes I just don't feel like running, right? And sometimes I successfully push myself and be like, okay, you're going to do this. Get your shoes on, come on, you're out the door, and do it without really having a thought process around it. But there's other days where it's hard, and I'm making a choice whether I run or not, and then it starts to rain. Well, it's raining. I can't work out now. It's 5 minutes past when I was going to run, so now I don't have time to even work out. There's stories that we could write. There's things that we could kind of put in our life because really we were looking for a reason why we weren't going to do that in the first place. Or again, nobody's looking to get a flat tire, right? I won't go, oh, I don't really want to go to the store, so I hope I get a flat tire. I mean, that would be total ridiculousness, right? So that's not what I'm saying. But if I do get a flat tire, if it rains, if that happens, if I get 50 phone calls, if I have 5 texts pop up while I'm trying to do a Facebook Live, I could have the attitude of, well, that's just great. Now everything's ruined. I'm off track and people think I'm scattered. And, I could write this negative story about how I think everything is and how I think everyone's feeling. And, oh, well, I have a flat tire, so now I can't get anything done. My day is ruined. We could write that story, right? But we have a choice again to consider how much impact that random thing, that random event, that attitude will affect how we get it done. So I'd like you to ponder your actions today. Will your actions today add to tomorrow, or will they take away from tomorrow? Meaning, if I decide not to run today, though I did actually run today, yay, but if I decided not to run today, it could have impacted whether or not I run tomorrow, because I didn't run yesterday, so now I'm already behind, and I'm not going to get a perfect week of little check marks on my goal streak, so I'm going to just throw in the towel. Or, am I going to say, well, I didn't run today, or I ran later in the day, so that will give me fuel to do tomorrow. We can actually pump ourselves up. We can write a story that says, okay, this is how I'm going to be tomorrow. Because just because something bad or random happened today doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. Now, if random things happen to you on a regular basis, then we should have a conversation, because then you're going to have to really look at how you can pull yourself away from those random things in order to move the dial on something, because again, random things should not be the norm in our life. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Ponder if your actions today will add to or take away from your tomorrow. And where do you want to be spending your energy? Do you want to spend your energy trying to walk away from getting a goal done, or do you want to spend your energy actually accomplishing that goal? Is whatever you did today or whatever happened in your day today, does it have a ripple effect? Can you measure that ripple effect? Can you see how far reaching it could be? And what can you do to make that ripple effect smaller? Again, because it's up to us to write that story, to be able to say, all right, this happened right now, but in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Another thing is, are you saying yes when you need to say no? This has a tremendous impact on our schedules, on our time, on how we get things done, because oftentimes we say yes, 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 because we don't want to be the bad guy, or because we don't want someone to feel bad, or maybe we really want to do that thing. But when we say yes to all the things, we're giving away our time and we're not making room for maybe something else. Or are you saying no when you need to say yes? I've gotten to a place where I said no, 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 no all the time because I was trying to have structure and I was trying to be really rigid with my time, and I was missing on community building opportunities because of that. So again, what are you making room for? So here are the questions again. Where do you want to be spending your energy? Can you measure the ripple effect of what's going on in your day today? Can you make that ripple effect smaller? Are you saying yes when you need to say no, or no when you need to say yes? Love to hear your comments on that. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Now, the third thing is to take action and make today count. So every hour, every day, every minute, every week, every month is a gift. It is a gift to us because we don't know when our time is up, right? And not to be morbid or macabre, but it's true. So every minute is a gift. I can choose to spend it in leisure time, and leisure time is good, and we'll dig into that in some future episodes. But it's not, if we're having too much leisure time and we're doing just the things that kind of roll at us instead of actively saying, okay, today I'm going to make room for this in my life, then you're living kind of randomly. So what steps, and in my blog I actually use a quote that was, the pen that we hold in our hand is what's writing our story. And I totally messed up that quote because I don't have it in front of me. But essentially, I tell a story at the beginning of the blog of how I was kind of living life at one point in my life where things were just sort of, I was going with the flow, and I had a degree, but I wasn't really working in that because it wasn't convenient for my family for me to commute, and I got a part-time job, and then I got all these, things just sort of were happening to me, and I was rolling with it. I was fitting myself into the job. I was fitting myself into my expectations. I was fitting myself into all those things, but I wasn't making room for what I really wanted to do. And when I had to move to a completely different location and I had to actually look for a job, I didn't know what I could do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I was good at, because I could have just sat in my living room and waited for someone to hand me another position, and that may or may not have happened. I had no contacts. I had no network in the new place that I was living. So I was confronted with this thought of, you know, I am allowing others to write my story. So I need to pick up the pen and I need to start making significant changes and steps towards what I want to do and what is really going to bring me joy in my life. And that's not just work, that's family, that's, you know, all kinds of things. You build a family, you spend time, you cultivate relationships. Relationships just don't happen. You have to have time, and it has to be intentional. And yeah, it can be spontaneous too. It's not all about structured time. But if you don't allow or make room in your schedule for spontaneity or for relationship building, it's not going to happen. You just won't have the time. So my questions in this are, what steps do you need to take to pick up the pen and start writing your story? I want you to think about, who have you given that pen to? Like I said, I gave it to family. I gave it to employers. I gave it to, you know, my children at times. I gave it to my parents, and not that I don't want them in my life and involved in my life, but I was giving my room away. So, who have you given your pen over to? And what steps can you take to change that? For me, it was recognizing that I had given over that ability to someone else. For you, it might be something different. So think about that. Journal about it. And what can you do to change that? Okay, I already read that. So let me just go over it again. What steps do you need to take to pick up the pen and start writing your story? Who have you given that pen over to? What steps can you take to change that? And then I want to give you this little fill in the blank thing. And this is something I've started doing daily. And I put it in my journal. And I put it on top of my planner and my planner page. And it's a fill in the blank. So today I will fill in the blank so that I can fill in the blank. Now, I don't actually say fill in the blank. Today I will launch a Facebook Live so that I can reach people with a message. Or today I will plan all the meals for the next week so that my family has nutritious home-cooked meals that I don't have to run to the store every night. See, there's different applications for that. So it's a statement. Today I will insert whatever you're going to do so that I can, what result are you looking for? I guarantee you that will change your life, and it will do more for you than having a perfect list, having a perfectly planned day. Because again, if you have the one thing that you're trying to get done, when all these other things happen, you still know that that's the one thing that you're going to move forward on. So this is what I've talked about. We're talking about making room. We're making room in our lives for the things that are really important to us. And it doesn't have to be business, though it can be. It doesn't have to be work. It doesn't have to be family, but it can be. We all have choices. Consider your impact, or consider the impact that something has in your day. And take action. Make today count. So, what do you need to make room for? Do you have a goal that you're trying to work on? Do you want more peace in your life, or more balance, or more playtime, or more work, or more family? I mean, what is it? What is it? If you could identify one thing that you need to make room for, that you've been feeling, I mean, I've been reading a lot on Facebook about mom guilt, right? It's a real thing, because we can feel guilty about working when we should be when we think we should be with our kids. But honestly, I have my son, my youngest, goes to camp all day, and he went to Dave & Buster's yesterday. I mean, he is not having a bad summer. And it gives me opportunity and time and space, room, right, in my day to be able to get things done. But when he's home, we spend time together. We watch a movie, or we go to the zoo, or whatnot. Again, I make room for those times as well. So let go of mom guilt, but think about what you need to make room for. Because if you are feeling guilty, think about why. What's driving that? What do you need to make room for? What is your heart telling you that you need to push away other things to make room for it? Or is it really just a false sense of, well, I think I should be? Yeah, let go of the shoulds and be intentional about what you want to get done. Well, thank you for joining me. I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear the answers to your questions. I will get back to each and every one of you, and I hope you have a great and productive day.